What's up, guys? Ball Hub here. Today we're going to be talking about my award predictions for three awards: Rookie of the Year, MVP, and Coach of the Year. The other three awards, Most Improved, Sixth Man, and Defensive Player of the Year, will be in a different video. So today we're just going to be focusing on the three main awards. Um, so first we're going to be starting off with Rookie of the Year. How this is going to work is that I have three candidates for each award. My obvious pick, my second pick, and my third pick. And then we're just gonna go from there for each award. So for Rookie of the Year, I have Ben Simmons, and a lot of people. I mean, this might like anger some people because a lot of people don't consider Ben Simmons as a rookie because technically he's been with the team for a year already, even though he was injured and hadn't played any games. To me, he's still a rookie, and he's putting up incredible stats. I think he just put up his 12th triple double in the Sixers when they're on an 11-game winning streak, and he's actually averaging a triple double in that winning streak right now, which is incredible. And he's averaging about 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. He's a do it all. I don't know if he's a point guard or a power forward or a small forward. He can basically play any position 1 through 4, and he's been helping the Sixers. They've been making a very nice playoff push. I think they're the fourth seed right now with their 11-game winning streak. They could possibly make a run in the playoffs, depending on like if Markel Fultz just came back and he's been looking pretty all right. If he can step up and like you see he hasn't been bad, but if he can like be a solid point guard for them in the playoffs, then I think they could be a real threat to. I think they're playing the Pacers. If the playoffs started today, they'd probably be playing the Pacers in round one, which I'm gonna pick the Sixers over them any day. So yeah, I'm gonna go Ben Simmons with this award just because of everything he's doing. My second pick is Donovan Mitchell, and it's been a close race between these two, and it was a really hard pick for me to pick Simmons over Mitchell, but because Mitchell is averaging 20 points, he's averaging the most points a rookie's averaging, and he's also helping the Utah Jazz make a playoff push. I think him and Rudy Gobert are carrying that team right now. Even Joe Ingles has been playing out of his mind. He's been shooting the ball really well for them. But I think Donovan Mitchell has I think the pressure of being well, he didn't really have any pressure because he was the 13th pick. So he probably used that 12 teams passed up on him as motivation to help to make sure that he can prove the haters and the doubters wrong, and he's doing exactly that right now. A lot of teams passed up on him, and I'm pretty sure they're probably shaking their heads right now because they passed up on a really nice point guard for the future. Um, he's been playing amazing for the Utah Jazz. I think once Hayward left, he's gonna fill that void for the future. I don't know if he's gonna stay in Utah for his whole career, but right now he's looking like the player who's gonna step into that star role that Hayward once was for the Utah Jazz. But yeah, he's my second pick for Rookie of the Year. My third pick is Jason Tatum from the Celtics, and I think it was the first two were really close, and the third pick. I mean, some people could have had Lauri Markkanen. He's been playing really well too. I've seen people with Kuzma. I don't agree with Kuzma as the Rookie of the Year, but yeah, Jason Tatum. He's leading. Well, he's not leading, but he's been a big part of the Celtics record right now. The Celtics are the 2 seed, and they could actually possibly be the 1 seed because the Raptors just lost to the Cavs last night, and I think the Celtics are 2 games behind the Raptors because they lost as well to the Bucks. But I think Jason Tatum, just like Ben Simmons, could help the Celtics make a playoff push. When Gordon Hayward went down, a lot of people counted the Celtics out because, without their second best player, they were basically counted out, and no one really expected Kyrie Irving to lead this team to a number 2 seed. And it's not just been him; it's actually been even Jaylen Brown has stepped up. He's a candidate for most improved player. That's a spoiler for my next video. Um, but Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, another candidate for most improved player. Al Horford has been playing well. Aaron Baines has stepped into the defensive role. But yeah, Jason Tatum is averaging about 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 1.6 assists, and he's shooting 48% from the field, which is actually really good for a rookie. He's kind of like adopted that. I compare him like right now. His game is kind of like a Paul George. I think he said that's who he wanted to compare his game to, like Paul George and Melo. But I think he's playing really well for the Boston Celtics. He's going to be a great forward for the future, and I can't wait to see what he does with the Celtics team in the playoffs. All right, moving on to MVP. My first pick is gonna it's not gonna shock people because a lot of people have this man because he's been snubbed from this award 2 times. Well, not snubbed, but he hasn't won it 2 times in a row. He's been second. Well, and that's James Harden. Incredible season for me. I mean, no one really expected no one expected the Rockets to be this good. I can say that right now. No one expected them to have this record, and if they did, then they can predict the future or something. Because honestly, he's been playing like he could be the third best shooting guard of all time. If he wins a championship or two, and if he's averaging this much right now, he could be the third best shooting guard of all time, and that's coming from a Miami Heat fan. As I love Dwayne Wade, but James Harden is special. I mean, his people have criticized him for his defense, but he's gotten better. And his offense is so great that it kind of overshadows his poor defensive tendencies at sometimes. He last game against the Wizards almost had a triple double, 38, 10, and 9. Shooting, he shot 68%, 67% from the field in that game and shot 63% from three, which is a great game. I mean, you'd like to see the game be like this, because especially for following the game against the Spurs on Sunday, where he shot the ball really poorly from the field, and that led to a loss. He had a bounce back game against the Wizards, which was really good for him. He's averaging 31, 5, and 9 right now, shooting 45% for the field, man. I mean, he's just doing really good for the Rockets. Yeah, and like I said, the number one seed, potentially their championship contenders. A lot of people are picking them over the Golden State Warriors. I mean, I don't know who I'm going to pick yet. That's probably for another video. I'm probably going to make my championship predictions and playoff predictions in another video. But a lot of people are counting like they're betting on the Houston Rockets to win the championship this year, and I mean, I'm not mad at them because you can't really like go against what they've done in the regular season. It's unbelievable what this team has done. Mike D'Antoni's offense is unbelievable. James Harden and Chris Paul. A lot of people thought that they couldn't share the ball, because Chris Paul is he's a pass first point guard, but he also hogs the ball sometimes. So a lot of people thought that they couldn't work out together. Gerald Green is a candidate for most improved player, and he's been playing really well for the Rockets. I think that they have a lot of good defensive wing stoppers. Ariza, PJ Tucker has been big for them. Mbao Mute has been playing really well, and then Clint Capella has probably had the biggest jump for them. He's emerged as I would say top 10 center in this league right now, and he's been playing really well for the Rockets as a third member of that big three with him, Paul, and Harden. And I can't wait to see what this team does in the playoffs. But yeah, James Harden for MVP. My second MVP is the King, LeBron James. I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's his 15th year. He's averaging 27 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. And he's having the best season of his career since he left Cleveland in that 2009-2010 year. He's been playing. You can, when you watch him play, you think he isn't 33, because of everything he does. Like the amount of breathtaking plays that he's had this season, and the amount of success. I mean, the Cavaliers have had kind of like a roller coaster of a season. Like with their, they started off pretty bad, then they went on this nice 13-14 game winning streak. Then they slowed down. Then it got really bad for them. So then after making all the moves, they've been all right. Tyronn Lue, after he left, they're now 8-1, and I'm pretty sure he's set to come back this week or next week. It's gonna be really interesting how that works out with them, because I don't know who their interim coach is with him being with Tyronn Lue being out, but um, whatever he's been doing, it's been working for the Cavaliers. But yeah, the third seed right now, and I don't see LeBron James losing in the Eastern Conference this year. I mean, yes, the Celtics and the Raptors. If any year, this is their year to knock out the Cavs. But I don't think that's going to happen. Just because playoff LeBron is a different monster than regular season LeBron. They're going to have pretty much like their roster is going to be at full health. Like Kyle Korver has already come back. Uh, Shout out to him, and I hope he and his family feel better because as you guys might not know, but Kyle Korver's brother passed away. It's really sad, and he came back yesterday. He had a pretty solid game for the Cavs. If and then we saw Jose Calderon have a hot shooting night for them against. They actually beat the Raptors, so and Jose Calderon was big. And if he can step up in the playoffs for them, that'd be really nice. Kevin Love has shown that he's an all star in this league. He hasn't taken a step back when he came back from his injury, which is really good for them. If you're a Cavs fan, you should be really happy with your situation right now, as because your team is performing pretty well, and defensively they're not as bad as they were in the beginning of the season. My third MVP pick. This was kind of tough because I had three choices or four choices actually. I didn't want to go. I don't want to disrespect any of them because they're all having phenomenal seasons. I had to leave out Giannis. I had to leave out Anthony Davis, and I had to leave out Damian Lillard. Um, and it was really tough for me because Giannis is averaging 30, and I couldn't put Giannis in there because the Bucks are an 8 seed right now, and I don't think there's an MVP. If I don't think that you can be an MVP in the league if you're leading a team to an 8 seed. I mean, Russell Westbrook was kind of a special case, and he wasn't even the 8 seed. He was a 6 seed, and he was a kind of special case because he averaged a triple double, and no one's ever done that since Oscar Robertson. So I don't think you can win MVP if you're an 8 seed. Damian Lillard, he's averaging. He was my uh, pick behind who I picked for this third spot because the Blazers are the third seed right now. They're playing really well. Damian Lillard's averaging 26 points per game, and he's been playing really well. But he hasn't led the team as well as the person I picked has. Anthony Davis he's been playing really well. No one really thought that the Pelicans could make the playoffs after DeMarcus Cousins got injured, but he's been carrying that team, and they were really hot. After Boogie went down, they jumped up to the third, fourth seed. Now they're the 6 or 7 seed, I believe. So I couldn't put him in there either. So I picked. A lot of people picked him. I picked Kevin Durant. I mean, with all the injuries that the Warriors have had, I think it's hard not to give him this award. He's averaging 27, 7, and 5, and he's just proven that he's the second best player in this league. I mean, it's him and LeBron. I mean, I would put LeBron ahead of him, by like not by like a lot, but like by a fair bit. But Kevin Durant, he's showing the league why he's the second best player with all of his after his injury, he just put up 34 and 10 against Russell Westbrook and the Thunder, and he's been playing really well for the Golden State Warriors with Curry being out, Klay Thompson being out for a bit with his hand. Even he was out with his rib injury. Kevin Durant, Draymond Green was out with his throat injury or something. But I think that whole Warriors team has stepped up, and what I've noticed is that when Kevin Durant plays and he's the number one superstar for that team, they have a more grit and grind attitude instead of nonchalant when Steph Curry's in the lineup. So when Steph's in the lineup, they're all having fun and all because Steph Curry, that's his energy that he exudes on you. We're a very fun loving team. But when Kevin Durant is the main guy, it's always grit, grind. He's improved his post game tremendously. You see him hitting fadeaways on you, Dirk legs. Uh, he's using his height so well, just lulling people to sleep. He's doing really well for the Warriors, and they're like despite what the Rockets and the Raptors and the Celtics, even the Cavaliers, despite whatever they're doing, the Golden State Warriors are still the favorite to win the NBA Finals if they have a healthy team. If their team is healthy, Iguodala has been injured, but if Curry, Durant, Thompson, and Green are all healthy, I don't see any team beating this Warriors team unless unless they play out of their minds. And it's going to be really fun. This playoffs is actually going to be one of the most interesting playoffs that we've ever had, because last season, the year before that, and the year before that was all just cakewalks for the Cavs and the Warriors, and they just got to meet each other in the finals. That's it. But this playoffs is going to be really interesting because you have a chance to potentially knock out those two top teams that everyone was predicting to go to the finals. All right, moving on to the Coach of the Year award. This is very tough for me. There are obviously three candidates, and the tough part was putting them in the order that I wanted to put them in. But I did this because it made the most sense to me. So the first, the Coach of the Year for me right now is Mike D'Antoni. The Houston Rockets, like I said with James Harden, have been playing crazily out of their mind this season. 63-15. They improved by 7 games last year, and they've just been they put up 113 points per game, and their team isn't star-studded. I mean, they have James Harden, Chris Paul, and I forgot to mention him, but Eric Gordon has been playing really well for this team. Like I said, Clint Capella, Trevor Ariza, Ryan Anderson, who I forgot to mention, Gerald Green, Mbao Mute, PJ Tucker. Their team is surprisingly it's deep. I mean, no, it's not deep, but it's like the guys that, because D'Antoni only plays like 8 or 9 guys in a game, and the guys they play are quality guys. I mean, like they're not scrubs. They play good guys in the game. So I think that team with the combination of Harden and Chris Paul, Clint Capella, if Harden, Chris Paul, and Clint Capella are all playing, they're like 32-1. They're undefeated in that game, which is why the Rockets are my number one team this year. Mike D'Antoni is the Coach of the Year for me. But my second candidate for Coach of the Year is Dwayne Casey on the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors have proven to people a lot of things. They've proven to people that last year they were the 1 seed as well, but they were 51 and 31. But this year they're 55-22 with still 4 games remaining, which is an unbelievable thing for them. I mean, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan have shown why they're all stars in this league. Jonas Valanciunas has taken that big step. They have a very deep team. Their team, DeRozan, Lowry, Valanciunas, Ibaka, CJ Miles has been a spot up shooter for them. Siakam has had quality minutes. Norman Powell, even the rookie OG Anunoby has stepped up for them. They have a very deep team, and they've surprised a lot of people this season, man. I mean, the Toronto Raptors are probably gonna go to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. If I have to be honest, I'm not gonna discredit the 76ers or the Celtics or any of those teams, but the Toronto Raptors are gonna go to the conference finals in my opinion. With their coaching and with their deep team, I know Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan are notorious for failing in the playoffs, but this year I don't see this. If any year is there for them to go to the finals, it's this year, without question. I don't think they're gonna get a better opportunity to be as successful as they can be than this year. And yeah, that's my pick for this. My second spot for Coach of the Year. So obviously, many people had this coming, but the last pick is obviously Brad Stevens of the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are 53-24. And the reason I put them as a number, the third spot, as Brad Stevens is the third spot for the Coach of the Year award, is because like they haven't had that as big as an improvement as like the Rockets and the Raptors. They haven't. But I'll give them one thing though. They shocked a lot of people. I'll tell you that. I mean, no one, and when I say that, I mean no one expected them to be as good as they were. With Gordon Hayward being down, it was almost impossible. Like I was watching that game live. It was the Cavs and Celtics opening night. 5 minutes into the game, Hayward breaks his leg. I'm like, all right, oh god, it's done for the Celtics. Then this was their chance to prove to dethrone LeBron and like make it out of the East. And I was like, there's no way that the Boston Celtics are gonna make it out of the first round. Yeah, and I was one of those people who said there's no way in God's name that the Boston Celtics could do anything in the playoffs, and they've shocked the whole world. I mean, their Kyrie Irving has effectively led this team to the number 2 seed. Jalen Brown, like I said, like all these names that have stepped up, Marcus Morris, um, like even the Tice dude. I don't know what his first name is, but the center, y'all know what I'm talking about. The center who plays backup to Baines. He's been playing really well. Greg Monroe has been a good pickup for the team. And yeah, I think they're right now. I don't think they can beat the Raptors or the Cavs in the series, but I think they can do something really good in the playoffs. And I think the Celtics are a legitimate threat. So thanks guys for listening to my predictions for these 3 awards. Like I said, I'm going to be dropping the Most Improved Player, Sixth Man of the Year, and the Defensive Player of the Year awards as well soon. And when the playoff seedings come, for sure, like the set seedings, I'll be dropping my predictions of each seed and like who do I think is going to win each matchup and ultimately leading to the championship. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Ball Hubs signing off. Peace.